Hi everyone, we are going to draw some user stories. I'm with Caps, and
Hi guys,
yeah, like, are you good? Are you good, Caps?
I am awesome. I've been awesome for the last hour. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. We are faking it because we were talking like maybe for half an hour together.
Yeah. And
Uh,
they missed out the what's it called?
yeah,
Your
yeah,
neck
the
holder.
the flight thing. Like, I'm ready to work for hours now, and so we are going to draft some diagrams to think about user stories. And there is several programs that you can use. I'm using Excalidraw. I don't know if you know Excalidraw.
I think you showed it to me last session. That
Yeah,
was
it's
quite good.
native inside of Gitbook, and it's in my note application too. But Hassan is using Draw.io, and you told me that there is a third one called Lucy Charts.
That's correct. That one's expensive. It's $60 a year, and
Okay.
so
And so,
it's okay.
what do you want to use today? Draw.io?
Yeah, dryer, that's standard out. I'm just looking at for some cheat sheet for user stories. There is a specific UML diagram for user interaction. It's
Can we
called use
just
case.
can we just work on a draft? I have something in mind. I just
Yeah,
wanna like throw it up on the page, and it could be just lines like do not like just listing what I have in mind, and after we can draw proper diagrams if you want.
yeah, not a problem. Do you see my screen?
Yeah, yeah, I can. So let me put you on my main screen. Yeah, okay, I can see everything. Oh, damn, it's white, like it's blinding me.
Isn't that
Do you
right?
you like it white?
Yeah, it's normal, man. I
D-
thought, what,
d-
you like all
don't
that
you have
dark?
the
I know
how
what
is
you
it
mean.
called?
There's a special add-on for that. Oh, there
The
we go.
dark,
Theme.
the dark theme. You didn't click on the dark one.
It is not dark. Uh, what's going on? There we go. I had to refresh.
Oh, nice, perfect. It's way better.
Zoom in a bit more. So,
Yeah. So I mean, I'd like to list what we have already in mind. So I know that it's easy. I have it in mind. So the first thing is I am a refugee.
I'm getting some weird stuff right now. 2 sec.
Okay. What are you doing exactly?
Uh, don't know. I was getting some errors. So you're the
Yeah.
refugee.
Did you want me to write it into my note application? Maybe like
I think
just
it
as
would be a bit
text?
better because it's
Okay.
just text. Because it might not be
Okay. So
useful on
let
the.
me share my screen and and then we'll draw something into later. So okay. Uh, do I put us on the side? So okay. So user stories for. Is it big enough? Maybe not. Okay. Let me scale it up. Scale it up to 300. Okay.
Wow, what screen have you got?
A big one.
Mine doesn't go
uh,
to 300. So, in terms of user story, you've got a couple of things you want to do is identify the entities or users. So you've got, then from there you can do the interactions between uh, the application and other users or
Okay, so
tenants in there.
let me just write what I have in mind, and then you'll critique me and say why it's shit. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, reflection. So I'm using this to tag all my file. So here, this is some documentation, and it's some reflection, and it's for a project. So that's it, okay. And then I have some introduction and everything. So okay, let's just go straight into it. So um, uh, refugee. Attends. As a refugee. Okay. I'm not going to write it straight as a regular story. I'm going to
Actions.
to write it just for us, as developers. Learning, like we have already in mind some classes and objects and actions, like you said. So,
Yeah.
refugee can create. No, attends. Refugee as, yeah. You'll tell me that is shit later. So
Okay.
refugee
Yeah, I was just going to say
has
something just now.
uh, refugee group. Uh, so if I can really, I could do, okay. Refugee can add, can create an account. You know what? I'm just going. I'm thinking out loud, and I'm going to do straight and dirty, and then we are going to work on it. Refugee as refugee group, host has shelter, shelter, then host, uh, create shelter, offer, uh, um, refugee can look at shelter offers, uh, and uh, refugee uh, uh, make send send uh, shelter shelter request for a particular shelter offer. Um, is it big enough?
It is big enough, but you're going on the wrong path on user stories.
Yeah, I told you you're going to cheat on me later. So, refugee send is just like that. You'll see what I have in mind, okay?
Yeah.
And then we can scratch it and go back, from the beginning, from scratch, and do something perfect. So this is why I have you with me on it,
Oh, yeah,
because I
definitely.
could do
See.
I could do it properly. Like, I'm a refugee. I can create an account on the app. I can fill up my informations. I can add my family and link it to my account, and I have a panel when I see my informations and the one linked to my family. I could do this, but I just want to throw what I have in mind, and then we'll talk about proper stories if you want.
Yeah. Okay.
Refugee sends a shelter request for a particular shelter offer. Host host uh, host
Rejects, accepts.
sees shelter shelter request host uh, accept or reject shelter re- request. So okay, so the thing is like here refugee as refugee group. So this is like a group of user stories. Okay, host as shelter. This is a group of user stories. Host create shelter. This is I mean you can see those as epics, and to make them a reality, you can build stories and then make tasks to make those stories through. So refugee as a refugee group, host at shelter. Can you see the can you start can you see how I see the application working like that?
Yes, from a programmer's view, yeah. It
Yeah,
is very data orientated and group specific.
yeah.
You have to, yeah.
So
Once you're
now
done,
I'm
I'll run it through with you.
what?
Once you're done, I'll run it with you in terms of
Yeah, I'm
what
done.
I
I'm
saw
done.
as a
Let's
user
start.
story.
Like as long as you, because I wanted to put this on the screen to let you know what I have in my mind.
Yeah.
And because now that I have those, like I told you, you can make those like they are. You can say that they are epics into a project. The project is the API, and I like yeah. You it's like you say it's really data oriented because I'm thinking about the API. I'm thinking about refugee core and how uh, the stories are implemented at this level, not as in the UI the portal. But I just wanted to share with you how I see this implementation, is this workflow, this uh, I don't know the yeah the story like the to me that's the first thing that should be built on the API before starting working on the portal.
Yes. In a way,
Like
correct.
like
You
you
do
should
need
be able
to.
to create a refugee. You should be able to create a refugee group. You should be able to create a host. You should be able to create a shelter attached to it. You should be able to create a shelter offer and for the like attached to an idea of a host. You should be able to do everything on the back end, all of those on the back end before starting building actual like user interface.
What I normally do for user stories is I write down a list of interactions,
Yeah,
nothing to
yeah.
do with the
So
application. So
okay,
I
so
would
let's do this.
say, yeah. So refugee. Or let's start with who would be the first person to interact in this? Would be the refugee or the shelter? Because it's a two-way party, a
So there is no
multi-sided
shelter.
platform.
Shelter is an object. So there is a host and there is a
Forget
refugee.
objects. We're looking
No,
at
no.
real
I mean,
life interaction.
a
Yeah.
shelter. It's like a house. You're telling me like I'm not talking about like to me a shelter is in French the word is hébergement or is a house. When I say object, I mean a real object. Like the shelter is dumb. It's not a person. A
No,
host
I
is
mean,
sheltering
yeah.
refugees.
So what I was getting to the point was not to bring in anything to do with programming at this point, because you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
user interaction. So what? Let's say a disaster happens. You have a multi-sided platform like Uber. You've got your drivers and your
Okay,
restaurants and
okay.
users.
Let me tell you. I'm a refugee. I'm leaving my country. I'm
Yeah.
looking for some help. So some
First
friend
thing
of
there.
mine or some people working in an organization is pointing me to this application that can help me find a place to sleep for a couple of weeks at
Okay.
least.
So one
And
of the
so
key
that
words there, on the refugee interaction, looking for a place to sleep. That would be the first interaction, because now you've
so
got something new in your list. You need to find something, a place to sleep. So that's the first interaction with your application. So you would be this is this would be talking from your UI all the way back to your backend and how you're going to strategize your data.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So the next thing is looking for a place to sleep. But then is there really a place to sleep? So if we create a new entity, which is your host, is I'm a host in London, and I feel like I really want to help the Syrian refugees. I won't have a space to to promote in that sense. So as a host, I create I want to promote my space, and you could replace
Maybe
your shelter.
I can offer shelter as a host.
Yeah,
I can offer a shelter or a room or like a shelter or I can offer shelter or a shelter or shelter.
just leave it. I can offer shelter. So that's the state of mind. But in terms of interaction, so what does the host do? So it what's the interaction? So he offers a shelter. So it's not can, it's more he offers a shelter. So that will be kind of the interaction. I offer shelter. So he posts it. So that's all does whatever. So it could be any types of interaction there to a refugee.
To a refugee or
Yeah.
or a group of refugee.
Yeah, all group refugee. So now you start to see some specification in there. As just looking at this to the first line, I offer shelter to a refugee or group refugee. So if I've got one space to start, so I can host one person, or I can host two or three people. So now, when you start thinking about your database, your entities, you look at a shelter. So then you have a specification which says I can host three people, and I don't mind if they are different families. So it
Mm-hmm.
starts to open the question as to your requirement for the software, because we were looking at one host, one refugee
Mm-hmm.
or refugee group. But the
Mm-hmm.
group could be compromised of many groups for one host. So let's say he's got a shop that can hold 50 people. That would be, let's say, 10 families of five.
Mm-hmm.
So you start to think data in that sense. So when you start
Mm-hmm.
to put it into non-programming, more interaction. Um, so what would be the next thing that, in terms of sequence? So he's looked for a place. So going back, so he's found a shelter or place to sleep. What does the refugee do? He would contact them.
He's looking for a place to sleep. I mean, so he's using the app, and in the app he can choose a shelter,
Okay.
an offer.
So he selects or wish lists shelters and contacts them. or that's sorry, contacts them as a separate interaction. And be mindful for anyone listening, it's not a linear thing. It could be one. It could be so many options in there, but it gives us a direction to work with, and
So there
it
is,
builds upon
I'm
that.
choosing, I wrote, I'm choosing a list of potential shelters.
And what does he
But,
do with
but
that? So the
I guess
next,
the other thing that the other thing is I'm looking for a place to sleep for me and my relatives or friends or group and my
yeah.
group. I'm choosing a list of potential shelters.
So he
Like
might have listed it based on, filtered it based on availability.
so I'm choosing a list of of potential shelters fitting fitting my needs.
FITT.
ITT.
Yeah, fitting. That's it. Um, then what's the next thing that he does, or what's the next step? Logical step. He would reach out to the host. So
Uh,
it could be a phone call, message, email, or whatever. And do you want to be the platform that deals with the messages, or do you want to let? That's something we can discuss, but it's platform or app dependent. It
no,
doesn't need
the
to
best.
interact.
I guess the I'm just if you think about the user, okay, and you want them to be able to use the app like they already know how it works, and so what is the other app that you can take in inspiration from is Airbnb. And so when you are looking for a place within Airbnb, you can ask questions, and there is a chat that allows you to have some interaction with the host before
Yeah,
reaching to an agreement.
yeah. So yeah, so I would say just contact or interact with host of selected shelter to see availability or ask questions in general.
I interact with hosts of available shelters
or
to
or ask questions. Yeah, because we
ask.
talked about it last session about cultural fitting. If you know the family
Okay, uh, uh,
meets and the
as
host doesn't. I mean,
as a host, uh, I um, I'm I reply to solicitation. How do you write solicitation?
solicitation.
Solicitation.
You got it.
I reply to solicitations, and I mm,
He can ask
I'm
questions as well.
building what?
He can also ask questions. So I'm building. Yeah, go on.
And I'm building uh, a chart. How do you say chart in like an agreement chart, an agreement document? Like
Um, just build an agreement. Just keep it simple. Build an
and
agreement.
I'm
There's a special word to it. Oh, working contract. Um,
And I'm assembling an agreement document, but not just an agreement document, a living standard agreement document. How would you word it properly in English?
a reply to solicitation, and I'm drafting the standard
Drafting
of, yeah, the agreement between
an
myself and
agreement between myself and the refugee or refugee group. I replied to solicitation and I'm drafting an agreement between myself and a refugee or a refugee group.
and this is where I think you mentioned if the host doesn't want all male, it might be difficult.
Yeah, so
So
so as a refugee, when I'm choosing the potential shelters fitting my needs, I need to see information of people living into the shelter. Like, I mean, maybe it's the main flat of the host, maybe it's another flat, but there is another person. Maybe it's even if it's his house, maybe he lives with his grandparents or he's living with two boys teenager. Maybe he's a lone dad. Maybe So when I'm saying fitting my needs, I need to
it's
know who's living
cultural,
into the
and
shelter.
yeah, so it's maybe put it brackets cultural and I don't know, social.
People basic information. Uh, people basic information. No, people's
Shared living space.
people's. I wrote people sharing living space basic information.
People, people sharing.
People like how would you say that?
Say in French, I'll work it out.
Uh, information à propos des gens qui partagent l'hébergement avec moi. But the thing is, in French, like sentences are long.
Yeah. So to fit my needs, cultural people, cultural specification, and I will say information about um, the current tenant of the shelter. Information
Not just
about
current tenants, you mean the people that are living into the shelter? But I mean, if it's the host, does it
it.
work too if you say current
Yeah.
tenant?
So current tenant could be so tenant when you look at it as a word on its own is someone living
I
or
will it for tenant like this.
yeah current. I think
Current
it's okay,
tenant,
but
current tenant information.
it's a tenant. Is it
Current
tenant?
tenant information. Uh, but I mean, and in gender, number, tenants, tenants.
Yeah. So the definition is a person who occupies land or property rented by from the
Okay,
landlord.
I see.
Or
Gender, number,
age.
what information?
So
Age, and that's it. I think it's
yeah, we'll,
enough.
we'll leave it there. Then we can review it and build kind of use case specific
So,
for each.
time, availability, time, availability, like, would you word it?
Period of uh, period of availability.
Availability. Is there an error
Oh,
here?
you got it right.
Avail-
Yeah.
Period of availability. Then, is there something else? Like, maybe if I can smoke, uh,
I would leave it as
if it allows pets.
I think you you would just have to filter by keyword at that point. It's on the description.
I
So
mean,
if the
if we are talking
host,
about story, I'm choosing a list of potential shelters fitting my needs.
yeah,
Do you want me to write, uh,
it could be
like,
disability as well. So what
okay,
if the refugee is a child? What if
so
they need
accessible
special
to
care, proximity
accessibility,
to hospital?
accessibility, like, medical, like this.
Accessibility. It's ACCESS.
You said
ACCESS.
access, access,
C. That's it.
like
One
this.
more S. I think it's two S's, isn't there?
Accessibility for
Accessibility to S.
regarding medical conditions.
Because you have to think about what you mentioned last time. If Japan, let's say in Japan, Tokyo has a I don't know an earthquake and there's a nearby town. Its availability, how close are they to the main hospital where their I don't know family members are, or whatever. Is if you think about it in these times, if let's say there's a I don't know an explosion, disaster, members of that zone goes to a hospital, but then to aid in this, the refugee app could host non-refugees but are family members of the refugee that need some time to help out, which would become a temporary tenant position. So I guess that's a very good point. So nearby, close to a hospital and all sorts, government or yeah, what do you call
So
this?
look, like,
How
uh,
close are they to services by the government to help them as well? So we don't know. It's a complete, you know, uh, unknown at the moment because all sorts of possibilities could happen in terms of disaster. So I think for now it should be okay. Just put amenities.
how do you write it? Amenities, like this.
AME.
Amenities.
That's it.
Okay. So what else? So we can continue here.
So, okay, you draft an agreement between myself and refugee or refugee group. So now, let's say they've agreed it. Both parties said, "Yeah, I'm happy with the terms and conditions."
So as a refugee, I can read the agreement and suggest changes to it. Or what do you think?
I think it's a position of informal agreement that the interaction could be printed out, maybe, and because let's say you have a draft agreement between the two
But I mean,
individuals.
do you
Yeah,
want me to write this or do you want me to get rid of this line?
no, leave it. Read agreement and suggest change. I think it's a loop interaction, so we keep on looping around until it's agreed. And
Uh,
if both
uh,
parties are happy,
I oh okay, changes to it. No, I read the agreement. So you said to me, read the agreement and suggest changes to it or accept it as is.
now
Is
without
it
getting too much in the legal elements, some countries, if you stay in a property that's not yours, you could classify yourself as a what's it called?
yeah, but I mean, if you're not getting paid to shelter somebody, it's not like
No,
I mean,
yeah,
you have the right to invite people to your place.
yes, but you also have, yeah, you can, but if they overstay, then there's a my head's gone, but there's a word that they can just stay forever. But some countries, if people are overstaying in a property, you can get the police involved and it can kick them out.
Yeah,
So
but at this point, this is beyond
it's,
our power. Like,
yeah,
if someone overstays, it's on the host. The host knows that because I asked this question to Marie, and she said that nothing like this happened. But yeah, the thing that they were helping people for a time period, and then they were like, okay, after this much, we are not mediating nothing. So if you have trouble, you go to the police because, and it makes sense because you are not the police, you are just a platform that helps people connect together. If there are legal issues, there is some institution to manage this
to
kind of stuff.
mediate. Yes. And I think it is something to consider, but I would try to limit any liability to the platform when drafting any terms and condition. That's from my perspective. So once I've
Mhm.
accepted it, I would suggest maybe having it printed it out, and because some
Yeah,
countries, let's say you come into the UK or America, you have to provide some proof that you are, you know, going there for something that is valid. So how do you create a printout of a conversation with all the details on there? Because when I went to Finland, they wanted to see the hotel booking. So some countries want you to they want to see the hotel booking. When I applied for my visa to America, they wanted to see the hotel booking so that I could get a visa to America. So in terms of
okay,
refugee,
so
inter so maybe the
uh,
authorities providing
no,
this
I
facility.
I accept uh, the the refugee. I accept to shelter refugee or refugee group. I can provide, oops, can provide documents to them. Uh, I can print out their informations. Information. I print, uh, can give them uh, my location or meeting area or meeting address.
So now the question is, are they going to be picking them up from the airport, or are they making their own way to the property?
And I think it's case by
That's
case, and that's why
yeah.
I'm
So
saying I give them my location or meeting address or meeting point or meeting. How do you say that? A meeting location,
uh, meeting point location. That's fine. It conveys the point.
meeting location. I can attends. I can provide documents to them. Uh, no, I can. I provide a phone number.
And all of this could be potentially automated. You get a
Give them,
standard form that's printed out.
yeah, in my location. I access the shelter. I provide uh, um, my identification documents. And I
So
mean,
yeah, it
I,
could be
I, I
like for example here, if I want to take a refugee, I would need to provide maybe a document or proof. So I would leave it there for now because it could be a complex item, and we as a um, developer community can easily adopt it for that particular disaster. If they have additional requirements or they need to upload a specific form, we can make it required. But for now, I think that should be left blank. Should make it
I
simple.
think this like I'm thinking about this because you said, oh, the Finland, no, 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 but
Yeah,
if I'm in Germany, trying to take the bus to meet the host, and then the police is coming asking me for ID, and I try to explain what's going on, but I do not speak German and everything. Maybe I just have all of the information print out or on my phone, and they can see the identification of the person that offered me the shelter, and they can call him, and you know what I mean.
and you could also have verification. So if someone starts to manufacture these documents, you can have a QR code that links back to Refugee.Land app, and they could scan
Yeah,
it, and we would verify the QR code and information on there. So
yeah.
that's something you could do, and people could standardize this.
I can print their information. Okay, so can provide access center. Okay. Uh, Letter of intention. Based on the agreement. So you said to me, okay, but how they could they sign it electronically, or they have to print it out, or do I sign it?
Um,
I'm providing it, but we
I
have to
think
think
you
about.
need to leave it to them to sort out. The more you get involved, the more you put yourself in liability. Because you're not, let's say you're doing something in between Germany and Spain, for example. I don't know.
Okay. So do
They
you
live in
agree with
Germany.
this? Do you agree with this? That after
Yeah, I do.
accepting to shelter them, I provide an identification document. I provide identification documents, phone number, maybe an email.
Yeah, as much as information. But those could you once you've drafted your interaction, then you kind of extract out in requirements to produce
I
kind
mean,
of
I'm
your
just thinking about the action
epic.
for real. Like, I'm a
Yeah,
refugee. The guy just accepted, and I'm expecting things from him. I'd like to
yeah.
have his name and a picture. I would like to have a phone number or an email to be able to reach out to him.
And
I
the
would.
host
I
might
need.
need
I need some
information.
location, and I need some paper that that shows that he accepted it, that I'm welcome to his
Yeah.
place.
The other thing is the refugee could also will need to send his document to the host so that the host can apply for a grant or whatever. So there is just not only a host interaction, but a both party providing this information.
This is why here you can see I can print out their information, but
Mm.
I send no, I provide my the thing is that we cannot. It's not like it's
Yeah,
easier to ask for identification from the host than from the refugee, because you can imagine a situation when they have nothing, like any, like all their papers when burnt or lost, or
yeah, that's true. So the provided information could be, you know, an asterisk could be anything.
Yeah, I mean, that's the information that are registered in the app at least.
And you know, the let's say the Red Cross or whatever entity is there can provide them a piece of paper, say, here you go, here's a temporary ID that you are, or letter that you have been in this zone.
Yeah, I guess that would be not in our control. So
That is not in
I
our
think
control.
it's like a cloud repo where they can upload documents or something like that. I provide my information, my identification,
Yeah, and it
or
could be
well,
just a piece of paper and a number, and we don't know that information because it's again a wild card in a disaster scenario.
so I provide my personal information, and we just yes, because I think about this without thinking about an organization or background checks, but maybe for a host, we could provide, like, ask them to upload a background check, upload, I don't know how you call it in English, but there is a casier judiciaire.
Yes, um, we have something here where they do a criminal check, a criminal background check.
Yeah, but yeah, so, but I mean, if we, maybe it shouldn't be a requirement. Maybe it should be
It
an option.
can't. Yeah, so you have to leave to the government. who have enough resource to do those checks, because you're looking at a border control. If the applicant provides all his information at the border control and they say actually this person manufactures drugs, we can't let him in, you as a host, you wouldn't have known that information because they might have an
Yeah, but
existing
I'm
database.
not thinking about the document necessary to cross borders. But I mean, yeah, in the a perfect world, maybe we would help with this. But I think that like the app is focusing on emergencies, and
Yeah,
if you have
it's on
to cross a
trust.
border, and if you have to cross a border, I mean, it's okay. Let's imagine that you
It
want
is
to cross
based
a
on
border.
trust. Yeah,
What? No, I
it
mean,
is based on trust.
let's imagine you want to cross a border and you need the documents and everything. I think that you will do it. Like I don't know if we can implement the this workflow or this story in the app. Like I think that it's more about you're already in the country you're allowed to be, and then you are looking for a place to sleep.
Yeah, not so. Yeah, so here in the UK, they wouldn't let them cross the border unless they've got a hosting family.
Yeah, but would they let you come in if you have a host?
Yes, so they would let you come in if only if you have a host. So it depends on the law
Even
and
though it's not from
regulations.
your family?
Yeah, it's not even if they're not in a family, you have to register to host refugees.
Okay.
So once you've got that registration, then you go on some kind of database or whatever, and I don't know the full interaction of
I mean, there
selecting
is so
and
many
choosing.
there is so many scenarios
Oh yeah,
that I think that we have to let them figure out the border crossing and what they need to cross a border.
and I think the best information that you've got there is if they provide all that information, and if either party needs to print it out, they can print it out with all the compensation if needed to provide proof that there's a validity in this kind of acceptance of refugee.
I can print out what?
Um, the agreement,
Documents?
documents, and agreement.
As a host, but also as.
Again, this is just an assumption. Um, it could always be different. If once you start being in the moment, dealing with a disaster, you'll have to sort things around.
I mean, there
And
is
what? Yeah,
you can because you could be in this position where you do not need to cross a
exactly.
border. You can be inside of a country. There is a civil war, and you're just changing a city, and
And you
so
don't need all that information.
you need
And all
those
you do,
information.
oh yeah, yeah,
You need those
address, location,
information, but
yes.
you do not need like a visa. You know.
Oh no, yeah. I
So
was
that's why
just
I'm telling
thinking
you there is so many different scenarios regarding traveling and legal stuff, and we cannot like think
can't
about
get
it at
involved.
least right now, you know. So okay, as a refugee, I provide my personal information. I can print out documents and agreement, uh, and
And that's it. Well, there is more to it. You mentioned mediation. That's a
uh,
separate scenario.
yeah, like as a third party, I can. vouch for the host or for a refugee and help them use the application.
Yeah,
As- yeah. Uh,
doing this has actually helped me understand more of the application and workflow
so
because it's
do you
just
write it like that? I can vouch for
yeah,
uh,
I think that's the word, vouch.
for, G, uh, and I can help them use the application. Okay, and I can add my in my information. I can add my information to the agreement. I can add my information and to be uh, used, no, to be that's okay, and I can take the role of a mediator for
Dispute.
for a period of time for a given time period. What do you think?
That is quite a good point. I can help them use the application. Imagine you're in a situation there's no internet, but you can only make calls.
Yeah,
So what they could do is the refugees would line up, and you'll be on the call to a call center, and the call center would fill in the application for them
I
and
guess.
find them the host.
When I asked this to Marie-Hélène, she said to me, "Do not bother thinking about this scenario
Okay.
because it will not be the majority of people. Like they will often they will be with those people and they will show them how to use the application." And because she was doing this basically, she would be in contact with the family, she would be in contact with the host, but she wouldn't feel the registration. Like she wouldn't be called by families. She would point them to the website and make them fill forms.
Mm.
So she told me, yeah, maybe you're going to miss 20% of people, but just focus on this and then you'll see. Because she told me people are going to find a way. If they cannot use a computer because they are too old, they are going to ask a niece. If and if they find like electricity and internet, they are going to, like, I mean, people are going to look for a place to, like they're going to figure it out.
Yeah,
And
I
she told
think
me you're
that's
going to lose some people, but not the majority of it, and you should think about this later. Like the this whole third party thing with organization, she told me it's a whole other thing because you have to call them, convince them, teach them, give them material. You have to implement everything that would allow them to certify an account, and there is a whole process. that needs to be thought out and implemented. It's a lot of work, and it's not the core of the application. And so, yeah, I think she's right when she told me like just focus on the core, and then you'll be
That
when
will
you
be the
are when
additionals.
yeah. So okay, so do you wanna stop here and maybe another day we'll draw something because I know you have some stuff to do.
Yeah, I think we've done quite a lot. It's a lot, and it's quite good.
So
I think the
that's the
next,
thing I like with this application is like next time I'm gonna be with you, I'm just going to be I don't know like this is my notes. Let me show you how it looks because the thing those are my notes
wow,
and are linked together and I just can type here and say user stories, refugee, and bim, I'm on it. So I'm just dumping my brain into this application, and I can even find something. If I wanna Refugee.Land, I go there. If I wanna see I'm even doing my project planning in it. Let me do this. Can I do that? I'm trying to. Okay, I'm zoomed in, but I mean, you can see that here I have my sub-project. I can go there. I have
wow, you
this
got
view.
Kanban as well.
Yeah, but I can change it at like it's the same document. So, but there is two view. One is a regular Markdown document, and you can see if I want to, I can just move this in the progress, and if I go back here, it's over there. And if I put it back here and I go back here, you see it's here. And
That's not
so
bad.
I can drill down and I have my stories and my task and work in progress, and I'm using there is a sidebar. Like everything is zoomed in because I scaled everything up, but it doesn't look like that when I'm using it. Uh,
What size
let's
screen are
go.
you using?
Can't you see I'm far away from my screen?
You got a TV or something?
Yeah, I'm using a 4K TV.
Oh my days. That's
And
brilliant.
so yeah, I'm like this, and I can have side by side stuff like this. I can go there, and I can drill down like I told you. Like when you see, I have down there. I don't think you can see it. Like here, how to solve, how to resolve EF migration. If I want to create a page, I just have to put the thing I was writing into brackets, and then if I click on it, it creates a page, and then I have
Just
my
like
stuff that can.
Wikipedia.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I can go to this page, or I can open a pane on the side like this, and then I can like put a pane into full screen, and I have the other ones on the side, or I can have all of them here. And like, do you see? I have a page called projects. So here I have all my projects and I have the one that are in progress. Oops, so this one is not right. Yeah. And I can go here and I can see what project I have started, and like I can go I can go into them. Like the standard, I have built one called the standard when I'm reading it. You know,
That's not bad.
I I I love this. I love this app. I mean, you can put a lot of plugins and stuff because the Kanban stuff, it's a plugin, and you can customize the look of it like you want, like the appearance you see. I can, is it in appearance? Translate window, font size, CSS snippet, theme. Do you have a theme? It's not here. It's here. Editing view. Let me see.
Do you pay for this?
No, no, it's free. There is a paid plan, but the paid plan is to publish on the internet and stuff like that.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah, so you can use other uh, themes like this one, uh, up, and you see everything changed. And I can have what I can have it white if I want to. I can use one that is more like GitHub. Let's see. Do I have one? Git, you know, this one is more like GitHub. So I have this one,
That's
and now
interesting.
and you can custom you can write the access the CSS and change everything to be like you want, and you can access a graph of your note, and you can filter. You know, if I want to see all the project, I just do this, and then it will just show me the project and stuff like that. You know, to put the tags. If I want to see the documents, you see,
It's
and
interesting.
then
You can use it as a mind map, kind of ability to remember things.
yeah, and you can go through your thing. You know, if I put refugee, if I put refugee, I can see the documents and I can see the links between them. You know, I can see that this one is linked to these other ones, and I just tap refugee, and I'm just looking at the like I see that in my workbench there is a link to the WIOS recommendation, and what did we just do? We did the user stories. I can see that the user stories is linked to nothing. So I can say, maybe it would be nice if the user stories for Refugee.Land were into the Refugee.Land project. And so I click on it, and in the introduction or in external references, I can just like uh, say the user stories Refugee.Land, and
And it
now
connects straight to it.
now yeah, it's linked to it. You see, like the Refugee.Land project and user stories here. Now you can see that there is a link to the Refugee.Land project.
That's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, the thing that it's highly customizable, so you can set your workflow as you want. You can do whatever you want to make it useful for your own brain. Because I made a lot of things that works with me, but there is tiny plugins that are really interesting. Like this one is open a random note, so I can just click on it and it opens a note. And this is
Hmm.
like a personal one with my like if I do Control I have a daily note, and I can see on the calendar view here with the notes, and I can access them, and they are linked between days and stuff like that. And I have some questions that I ask myself every day, like, oh, how are you doing? What are you going to focus on and stuff like that. I mean, it's nice, but you do not have to work with this note taking app like that. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, and I
Yeah,
like GitHub.
I'm just using a basic uh, note taking application. Nothing that
What are
fancy.
you using?
Just I write as a markup markdown editor, and I just offload all my thoughts like a normal diary.
Yeah, on Markdown. You have a so you have a simple Markdown taking app, or c'est ça?
Yeah, I
This is
just
it?
write down daily what I'm doing, what I'm thinking, and just offloads it off my brain, and that's it. I don't need to reread
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
It's the full
That's great.
process of writing down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But
But yeah,
I'm
no,
not
that's pretty good.
organized. I'm not organized, so all those notes are living at the root level. So, like when I put stuff into a folder, I'm just forgetting about it.
Just
And
like
so
Evernote.
I was using Evernote, but and this way, I just I just go through the pages like I'm going through code. I think about something, I type it, and I'm on it. And I can go through it like it's like almost when you're typing go to definition, when you are doing go to definition inside of code.
Control V. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You find
Eh,
back.
Yeah, and so you're jumping in the documents because they are logical links. And this is how I'm navigating my notes, because if I'm doing by folder, I just get
It's
lost.
hard.
Like I do not go back to them, or oh yeah, I need, my brain is not jumping through uh, through semantic. It's jumping, like I have
Visually for a
to
network.
pull out my brain of it and go through a hierarchical folder structure. Yeah. Anyway, so that was a nice session,
Yeah, that
and
was. It opened your eyes to a lot of things to think about.
yeah, I think so. But so next time, what do you think that we should do?
Extract what we've just written down to requirements for the application,
Do you think
and
that it's
from
going to look like what I wrote?
yes, exactly. So maybe a step after that. So the user must be able to create a profile. The user must be able to post their shelter, and you can use what's called use case UML diagrams as an example, but there's many other ways you could just write it down on Obsidian. And
Okay,
then you can start thinking about your data structure and
okay, okay,
your class diagram, because it gives
okay.
you that's what
So
effectively
because
I
the
write
thing
down.
is, I still think that we can continue
Oh yeah.
to implement those classes into, because we are coding right now, and
Oh
I'm not
no,
going to
yeah,
tell
you can still
people
use
stop
them.
everything. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying it's in terms of getting people more involved on the background of it and then breaking it down into now more of the requirements and the requirements into the data models
Okay.
that we have.
And you
It
know
gives
what?
them a better context
The last thing that we can do is to just take this.
and delete it.
No, 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 no. I'm just going to GitHub, and we're going to. Do I go to the standard la,
Gitbook,
the Gitbook directly, or do I do it from here?
Gitbook directly. It's a lot easier.
Okay. Gitbook. Uh, and where do we put this? Into projects, into architecture, in where?
I would say project gives you an idea of
Idea and proposals, architecture.
ideas and yeah, ideas will be better.
Ah, I'm not into edit mode. Uh, so edit mode. Sorry for my English. Huh? Doo-doo-doo. Oops, I did something silly. So I want to name it user stories draft. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's good, and we can
Or, or draft maybe like this.
and you can break it down even further.
Uh, okay, maybe I should. Interact. I'm gonna let this there. Solutions and okay. Submit for review now. Submit and merge. Okay, that's it. That's online. And that's how we build documentation. No?
Yeah, it is. I do it in a nastier way than that, but this is a lot cleaner for the public. I just draft down, write as much as I can, just
But
offload
I mean, even for the the team.
the team.
But our
It
team.
is, yeah, it is good because it gives everyone an idea what's going on, us and others.
Yeah, and that's the same thing if you at a later date when there will be a lot of documents like this one. There is a shortcut key on the website, and you can do
Control K.
Alt Control K and look for subjects. And I think if you say user stories, you see you can find user stories draft. Do you see?
Yeah. So you use Control K. I think a lot of website includes this Control K.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Even your browser does it as well.
And
Do you know who?
if you want to jump, you can just do this standard, and you see that there is the standard FAQ. And if you are in the standard FAQ and you want to go back to the stories, the user stories, you say user stories, and you go back like this, and that's perfect. We can share documentation between each other.
I do
And
need to
at
spend some time writing.
what?
I said I do need to spend some time writing. I haven't had time. Been preparing a lot for interviews.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So we are going to stop here, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that's
thanks,
it.
mate.
Yeah.
See you,
No worries.
see you soon, I guess, and have
Yeah. See
fun
you soon.
preparing your interview.
Yeah. Likewise. For
Hey,
some reason, I thought your mic was a cat. It's got that fluff thing on it.
no, it's like a rabbit fur, something like that. I don't know. No, it's not for real. It's synthetic. Allez,
All right.
see you.
See you.
Bye
Nice
bye.
one. Bye bye.